Hello there, Itri here. Today we're going to be having a look at the royal tax system. Yes, unfortunately, even in games, you're not going to be able to get away from taxes. So what are the royal taxes? How are they calculated? What are the lockdown numbers? What do these actually look across multiple different tiers? And we'll have a look at how you can try to circumvent them or reduce them wherever possible. So there is going to be a link down below in the description, which will take you directly through to the wiki fandom page for the tiers of taxes, which we'll have a look at next. So here we are on the wiki page with the population unlocks and the tax rate numbers. So as you can see here, any population that is 0 to 999 is going to be at a 0% tax reduction. So any income is going to go all directly to yourself. Now, this is probably going to happen on farmers and possibly some really small workers islands. However, these population numbers will increase and get past this level quite quickly. And the first tier of taxing is at 1000 and is at a 9% tax. Then the tiers, as you can see, will all increase by 1% every 125 population. Now, these tax rates and population tiers are standardized across all of the population tiers. So you're going to have the exact same tax rate and unlocks for farmers as you would for engineers or investors. So you're going to have a lot of farmers' houses down before you're going to hit the population to actually start bringing in the actual tax. Now, as you know, the higher the population, the more options you have for bringing in money. So that's going to push you past the actual lower tiers and into the full high 40% tax reduction, which is at 4,875 population of any tier. Now, it will calculate the taxes on each individual tier. It's not based upon a global population on the island. It is by each tier. So if you had 2,000 farmers and 2,000 workers, that would get you to 4,000. So you'd be taxed actually 17% on the farmer's income and then 17% on the worker's income. You won't be calculated on a total population of 4,000 here, which will be 33, which is 1% less. It's calculated on tier by population levels each individually. So we've seen how it calculates the actual tax rate that's going to be applied to each individual island and tier of population on the island. Now we can actually have a look at the income that is going to be taxing it on and how that can be adjusted. So if we have a look at this investor here, we have these items here which are being fulfilled and some of them which aren't, which is bringing in an income of $430 in on the house. Now each of these houses are going to be slightly varied, which is going to bring in a income here of $372,000 and a tax rate of $167,000 of a population on the island of 19,610. So if we have a look at another island, just remember here, we're at 430 and we have 372, 167. So here we are on another island here, and we have a population of 12,197. So significantly less investors on this island. Now, if we have a look at this over here, we're still pulling in 372,000 and we're still pulling in 167,000. And we aren't pulling in that many more actual needs here. I think we were covering 3 before. We're only covering 4 on this one, which is bringing us up from 430 to 884. How is that? That is mainly because of the items in the town halls to boost income. So we have this one, which is bonus income from those goods, which you could switch out for a different one. And then this is general all-purpose income boosting. So how can this be beneficial? If you really want to minimize and maximize your income and reduce tax reductions, what you could do is keep your population levels on an island below a certain value. Say if we have a look at the taxes here, if you were, say, to keep your population down to 3,000, but then boost the income up past what would be at 4,800, then you could save yourself 15% taxes on that income and get extra income. Now, the actual income is actually calculated on, as I say, what items you have in the actual books and town halls. It's going to be cross-referenced to how many people you have in the house, and then it's going to be calculated and multiplied from the actual income you have over here, which is then, as I say, inversely going to be affected by the books over here, which you can see we're not fulfilling all the actual needs. We don't have as many people in the houses. However, we are greatly increasing the income. So if you imagine you had the population reduced, you could, if you were trying to min-max, actually try and get even more money out of your islands. So if we have a look at another set of islands over here, as you can see on this island, we have a look at the stats for finance. We currently have a income from the population on the island, which is farmers, which, as you were saying before, are bringing in very little money, and then workers, which is bringing in 2,500, and then multiplied across all those tiers, we are bringing in 7,812 income on the island, which is a tax of $2,667. So as you can see there, we are bringing in a net of 5,200-ish. And then with all the maintenance costs for the actual buildings you're going to have actually up and running, you're going to reduce that overall income even further. Now, most people will find that the engineers are probably going to be the most sticking point for income. That is mainly because the income you get from the actual engineers level versus how much the actual production costs and mining resources, it just reduces the level of income and profit from the engineers. If you're trying to expand into the investors, quite expensive. So if we have a look at two comparable islands for engineers and investors, you can see the difference between two levels. So we're going to have a quick visual comparison of a engineering island versus an investors island on income, and see how you can actually just visually see the reduction in cost and how they can be quite expensive, the engineers. So we have a island over here which has got 9,800 engineers on the island, and we have some items on here, however they are just increasing either the workforce, which doesn't increase or reduce the actual income, housing size and more housing size, and general newspaper and riot stuff over here. None of them are going to affect income in the slightest. Then we have this island over here which has 9,408 investors, so very similar. And we have all the happiness requirements covered on each of the islands. There we go. All their happiness covered. So the most amount of income coming in, $468 per household over here. That is that covered there. And we are increasing the housing size over here. And we have $870 income from the investors. So if we check back at this island here now, we do Control E to bring up stats for finance. The 9,800 engineers are bringing in $76,000, and their taxes is 30,000. So that's going to be a net overcome of $50,000. Now, if you calculate in how much it's going to cost to keep all of their happiness items and just general needs covered, expensive, everything's just expensive and maintenance cost heavy, which is going to reduce that 50,000 down quite a lot. Probably random arbitrary numbers. If it halved it again, that's 25,000. If it reduced it by 25,000 from income, so you're getting 25,000 income profit from this island. Numbers are not accurate, they're just a generalized number. So if we have a look at this island here, which has slightly less population but at a higher tier, bringing in even more money because they have more options for income. We're going to be applying the same 40% tax reduction on this island as the other island. And less people, higher tier, is bringing in $194,000 and 77,000. Let's call it 80,000 here. So we've got a net profit of 110,000. Now the requirements for keeping the engineers happy and fulfilled versus the artisans is not going to be as much of a reduction there, because we're at 50,000 before and now we're at a little over 100,000, was it? So we've doubled the profit just by going up an actual population tier. And the cost for the actual maintenance cost for these two different people over here, these are not going to be costing that much money, and you can get them as extra goods quite easily. The steam carriages is going to cost a bit, but it's definitely not going to cost the $50,000 difference that we're going to be getting from this island. So hopefully that gives you a slightly better understanding of the royal tax system, how it is calculated, how it can actually be adjusted, how you can try to manipulate it or reduce it, and how it crosses over between the actual population tiers, and how you can understand the maintenance costs and where you're actually getting the most amount of profit from. If you did like it, I do appreciate any likes on the video and any subscriptions on the channel, and comment down below if there's another video you'd like me to cover off next. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.